Yeah, I'm a little bit late. I apologize, but I'm here now, and we're going to talk about something that I personally find incredibly interesting. I basically made what can be considered a shit post on Twitter, where I basically is saying that no, the X-Men aren't oppressed, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. But it got a lot of views, and it enraged. Like, literally, I would not feel safe, chat. I would be like one of those e-girls crying for donations. I don't feel safe. Please ban my haters. You know, like, kind of like that. But unironically, I wouldn't feel safe among some of the people that replied to the post when I said that the X-Men aren't being oppressed. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, they are remaking X-Men. So the history of it is that it was the original cartoon, you know, the one that right, like that one. That one was based off a comic book. Back in the days, America was doing it like the Japanese, like they had their manga and then they were having a TV show. But for some reason or another, the cartoon got canceled, and the comic book kept going. So there's more numbers. And now they decided, you know what? We're actually going to go back, and we're going to focus on that comic, and we're going to remake the episodes. And of course, all the women are nerfed. Big asses or fat tits just don't exist in the X-Men universe now at all. But what's more interesting is some of the villains have been rewritten. And, well, they sound like this now. In case you haven't seen my episode, I will give you some context. This is how the villains sound in the new X-Men.
Hurt my friends? Well, now you answer to me.
Humanity answers to no one.
Isn't that epic as fuck, though? Like, I'm sorry, if you want to write someone that I hate, don't write them so cool. That is fucking awesome. That's badass.
Know what I hate about your kind? You act like you got it so bad. Normal people have it hard too. Harder. We just have the dignity not to whine about it.
You know, nothing like this is where the asses have been nerfed, right? Like they just don't exist in this new universe. Morbidly obese people exist, but the fat just doesn't go on their asses anymore. Now, the progressives, they expect you to dislike this character because he uses the trigger words. Like, they are literally like NPC. Like, they have a couple of trigger phrases that if you use them, they're like, okay, the other person said this, therefore I need to say this. You know, like, it's ingrained in them from Tumblr, from the academia. So when they hear the word "you're kind," oh, that's racist. Ah, now I got him. I'm above him. He's below me. He said the thing, and therefore, it's such a childish thing. First of all, you cannot compare the X-Men with any demographic in real life. I know they really want this to be the oppression porn, because they literally like strive to get off on it. Like they want to feel oppressed, so that if you're oppressed, because the entire woke ideology is that the strong serve the weak. So they want to show, I'm weak. I need to trust the safety council on my side. I need all of these things rearranged in society to fit me because I'm weak. So they get off to this like social justice porn. But the X-Men doesn't really fit. And I spoke with Ethan Van Sciver, both in public and in private, and he worked on X-Men. They never tried to make it about Martin Luther King. They never tried to make it about Malcolm X. And they never tried to make it about social justice. It was a story about growing up, about acting heroic, about doing the right thing. They never considered like all of these social justice implications that, you know, progressives nowadays are saying that X-Men is doing. And again, like, why would you want to identify yourself with the mutants? They're called mutants. But anyway, right? Why do they not fit? Well, if you think about it, right? The X-Men, they are not oppressed. I mean, they fly around in a private jet. They are fed and clothed. They receive an excellent education. They have superpowers. Every kid on the block wants to be an X-Men. What are we talking about? Now, there is conflict, sure, but like, to compare that with real people. And the thing is, like, there is a legitimate concern on why, or why being, I guess, mutant phobic exists. I mean, besides the fact that you have villains like Magneto that would be completely fine with genociding the entire human population, as long as he can save one mutant. You also have, like, benevolent mutants. You have, like, Professor Xavier, right? So Professor Xavier, he's probably one of the most kind, most wise mutants out there. But when he gets old and he has a stroke, everyone around him can die, right? So he's literally like a time bomb, and it goes through walls, it goes through everything. Like, imagine having someone like Professor Xavier, you know, living in your neighborhood, and he doesn't want to harm you, he doesn't want to do anything bad, but he's getting a stroke, and now everyone is bleeding from their nose, everyone is having an aneurysm, right? And then there's other mutants with even more fucked up powers. There's actually this comic that talks about a young mutant. He didn't know that he has powers, and then when his powers activate, he just walks around and finds dead people everywhere, right? So he thought that the United States is under attack. He thought that maybe there's like a new chemical weapon or something, because like he's just walking around, you know, going into a diner and everyone is dead. He's going into a city and everything is dead. And then he finds out Wolverine is the one that manages to make contact with him. And he finds out that he has this superpower that kills everyone on a 10-kilometer radius around him, right? So he doesn't want to do it. Like, he has no control over this. But, like, wherever he goes, whatever he does, people just die, right? So eventually Wolverine has to kill him. But the thing is, it's like, if these people existed in real life with these levels of superpowers, they would be a danger to society. Like, yes, like, humanity would be justified in finding an answer. And the thing is, none of the progressives have an answer, because I legitimately asked them, no one responded. It's like, how would you deal with the mutant threat? Like, if there was individuals out there with superpowers, right? And there are some that are so powerful they can turn into a nuke if they want to. Like, besides the fact that some of them may not even want to break the crime, how would you deal with the ones that can't control their powers, right? And they have absolutely no response for it. I can't do anything about my mic. All is well was the left screeching. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a bit. So anyway, their whole thing is that the X-Men needs to be social justice porn, right? And if you disagree with this, they call you a Nazi. Like, literally, it's for them. X-Men, I suppose, is like the Rorschach test, where you're looking at blobs on a piece of paper, and unless you see what they see, then you're the problem. And I'm like, you know, if you want me to see what you see, write it better. Make a better story. I doubt that they would have to worry about being oppressed. And not to mention, you know, like, the whole X-Men comic is also mutants against mutants. It's not like it's humans against mutants. It's not a story of oppression. It's more like a story of, as I mentioned before, heroism and doing the right thing. But it's also more about how do you deal with this situation? Like what is the solution? Right? Because there is no right answer. Like, there are certain problems in the world that do not have a correct answer. There is no right answer for the mutant problem, right? Because if you do nothing, and you have Charles Xavier getting a stroke and everyone in his block dies, well, now you should be responsible for that because you chose not to act. But if you do something, then you're also a monster because, well, Charles Xavier didn't do anything wrong. Right? So you're bullying the guy in a wheelchair. There is no right answer. And it's a moral dilemma. But like, they simplified the moral dilemma by going, oh, well, it's the oppression Olympics and mutants are oppressed. The left can only project their insecurities. Yes, like, literally everything has to be about the message. Even though in this situation, the message doesn't fit. Because the mutants genuinely are different. You know, like, the whole reason why racism is considered a bad ideology is because you can say, well, yeah, but like, the individual doesn't fit the mold. And you can make the argument that they're not, people aren't that dissimilar to each other, like, we're all human beings. But in the case with X-Men, Like, I'm sorry, a person that can fly around and shoot lasers from his eyes is not a human being. Like, that is now part of a different species. That's... I think, like, the worst thing about it is that their powers are so different to the point where you can't really have a solution. Because, like, if all the X-Men had the same power, right? Like, if everyone was like Magneto, for instance, then you could just say, okay, well, we're not going to make items out of metal anymore, or, you know, you say you're going to live on this island and everything is made of plastic. Like, you can find solutions. Like, for instance, they found solutions for Cyclops. It's like, okay, well, you can now wear that device, and that device protects everyone, and you just don't take it off, and okay. But like, their powers are so different. Again, and what do you do with someone that can get a stroke when he is an old man, and everyone around them, they're just... Anyway, the thing is, and this is why they get so upset, because I genuinely, like, try to figure out what enrages them so. Like, why they act so irrational just because I'm not getting the same message from a comic book that they do. And you gotta realize how the left views the world. Like they are really in favor of living in the pod. Like, that is their lifestyle. Now when you live in the pod, you get your information from entertainment. You get your information from video games, comic books. Everything has to be filtered, right? And everything needs to have the message. So basically, if you guys remember during the Floyd riots, Twitch and ACLU were freaking out about the fact that police officers were showing body cam footage, because it was against the narrative, right? Like usually the media likes so that the cops get attacked all day, and at the end of the day, when they finally push back, that's when they put it on video, and they're like, oh, look, police violence, right? But if you see the entire event from the beginning, and if you see, well, hold on a little bit, like that police officer, you know, he took like 6 bricks to the head and 2 Molotov cocktails before he decided to respond. It puts a different narrative on in perspective. It frames it differently. So the ACLU, which insisted that police officers wear bad body cams, which, by the way, I think it's a great idea, they also freaked out that, oh, police officers are using their body cams now to live stream. And that's not okay because it hurts the privacy of the protesters and shit. And this was like during Twitch, and Twitch eventually banned live streaming the riots. And why did they do that? Well, because the riots were too visceral. It was like looking outside the window without any commentary, and when you look outside the window, you don't get the message. So without the message, people get to think for themselves, which is bad, right? So the message is this. I will show it to you in a bit. This is the message, and it's a message of beauty. Like, this should actually be in a museum. Again, like there are certain events that I, if it was up to me, I would place them in a museum for posterity. Like generations in the future would not believe what we went through unless they see it for themselves. So you have like fiery but mostly peaceful protesters, and the thing that makes it even more funny, well, in a dark humor type of way, is that the thing burning behind is the police station, right? So, but this is the message. Now, the interesting thing is that people know the message is wrong. Like you cannot say this is a peaceful protest when you have the police station in the background burning, right? And everyone watching it knows this, but this is what you have to say in public. Like, if you're in a corporate environment, if you're with your leftist friends, if you're in the academia, you have to say the thing. You know the thing is not true, but you have to say it. And this is the purpose of Soviet propaganda. Like, Soviet propaganda was so false and outlandish that everyone knew that it was false and outlandish, but you had to say it in order to demean yourself, in order to humiliate yourself, because people don't like saying things that are lies, especially when it's not their lie. Like, you have to lie for someone else. And in this case, you have to lie for the Democratic Party. You gotta lie for CNN. You gotta lie for all the billionaires and millionaires. Like, but you have to do it if you want to be accepted in quote-unquote civilized society, which is the corporate environment, right? The HR lady. So, when this message doesn't exist, like imagine that you don't get to see the guy, you don't get to see the man from CNN, you don't get to see the headline. You just get to see a picture with cars that are burning and the police station in the background, right? Well, now you're not arriving at the message. Now you become a problem. You're not allowed to think for yourself because it's problematic. So while you're looking at this is why Twitch was feeling uncomfortable. They need the editorializing. They need the banners, with the temperature in Washington, D.C. They need to know, like, this thing, and they need a reporter to lie to you. And that's approved, right? So you have all these people that live their lives in the pod. They watch this shit. And then when they consume entertainment, they get the message. And that is the perfect citizen. Like, that is the good, decent human being that the left constantly talks about. The one with dignity. The one that lives like this. And if you don't live like this, you're evil. You need to be outcasted from society. You need to be debanked. You need to have, your career ruined. You need to have your reputation destroyed because you're not a decent citizen. And this is what separates, the modern corporate slave than everyone else. The entertainment addict and everything. And this is why leftists find it offensive when art doesn't promote their message. So let me see if I can find something really quick. In the meantime, I will bust through some super chats from American Outlier. I'm not a diehard Marvel fan, but from my perspective, it's not about oppression. It's more about ideological solution to mitigate as friction between humans and mutants. Yeah, like this is exactly what I said. And the friction is unavoidable. And there is no right answer. Like if you have people that can just turn themselves into nukes, or people that can just mind control others. I mean, imagine, like if your neighbor can literally just mind control you, and you probably don't even know it. He can come over and fuck your wife, and you have no clue that he did that. Like, the idea that the mutants wouldn't abuse their powers is ridiculous. No, seriously, like, think about it this way, right? If you have, like, a pervert, and he's got the powers of Charles Xavier, now he can literally just see, the woman across the street. Oh my god, she's fucking hot. But she's married. So what he can do is he can knock at her door, you answer, and he just mind controls you so you can sit on a chair, and then when the woman comes up, he mind controls her, has sex with her, and then makes you both forget it. Like this is just like a very petty use of powers that is absolutely possible in the X-Men universe. Like, if you want to go dark, that's how I would do it. They actually did that in the movie Invisible Man. So this was a horror film with a scientist that goes crazy and manages to turn himself invisible. And he also, like, has this, like, very smoking hot neighbor. And he realized, hold on a little bit, I'm invisible. Like, no one will believe her. And secondly, there is absolutely no way that she can see me. Like, she won't know who I am. So he goes and he rapes her, right? And again, like, if you were to live in a society like the X-Men, you would have people using their superpowers for evil. 100%. There's absolutely no way around it. And most of the powers, you wouldn't even know that they're being used. Like you wouldn't even... okay, like, what do you do? Okay, you got raped by a person that's invisible. Like, you call the cops, and what are they going to find? Who did it? There's probably, like, 20 mutants with the same power, But anyway. And even then, like, maybe it's just, like, another mutant that can use powers to mind control and made you think that's what happened, when you probably didn't even get raped at all. To consider that this wouldn't cause issues, and to compare this with, like, real-life demographics and real-life social justice is completely ridiculous. Like, I'm sorry, this particular story doesn't make sense. DNA? Yeah, but the DNA is invisible as well. Like, you can't see it through the microscope. The modern DNA tactics wouldn't work on an invisible person. Like, the way that DNA works is that you have to see it. Like, there are colorimetric reactions that take place, and the machine detects them. The machine would give an error if you manage to pull, like, invisible cum in the thing. V is describing the gun control argument. No, it's not even like the gun control argument, because with guns, like, everyone can have guns. I guess, like, in the world of X-Men, if everyone had superpowers or could have the ability to gain superpowers, that would be different. But even then, I think like you would start classifying the powers on various levels, and you would have like powers that can be a detriment to others. Because it's one thing, like there are some mutants that, okay, like his power is that you can see through his skin and you can see the organs and stuff. And that's like a disturbing thing, but it's not something harmful. Like it's not something that he can use to hurt others. Maybe you have like a mutant that can, I don't know, just levitate objects, but like small objects. He can make a tennis ball float, or maybe a mutant that can fly or whatever. Like these would be low level powers. But then you have like someone else that can mind control people. Like that would be a power that can be a detriment to society. And then you'd have to like force the person to wear a helmet or some shit. I wouldn't say that it's similar to gun control at all, right? And even with gun control, like even in America, you can't have nukes, right? You can't have a tank that's fully automated and loaded and drive it on the street and shit. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say that it's even remotely similar. I just hope that they don't woke reboot Spider-Man 94. To be honest, like Spider-Man 94 probably wouldn't sell now, but they would definitely make Mary Jane look like shit. Like at this point, it's their brand. It's their brand. Like whatever. So their brand is find something that's popular, buy it, make a reboot or a sequel of it, and make all the women ugly, and race swap and gender swap a few characters, and add the message. And that's it. That's their thing. I'm trying to find an interesting picture, but I guess I can't. Yeah, I mean, look at this shit, right? Perfect example. This is the character from Korea, and this is the character from ESG Japan now. Yeah, and by the way, all AAA companies in Japan are now woke. Like, they have their thing on the website. They're proud of it. They're displaying it. And this is the beginning, right? Because, like, you have a lot of people going, oh my god, well, she's not that bad. Even though she has the Californian man jaw, she's not really that bad, you guys. It's not bad. Yet. Yeah, just give it, like, remember that AAA gaming didn't get to where it is overnight. Just give it, like, 5 years or so. But the thing is, what they fail to understand is the fact that this is a product. Like, this is not a woman, okay? I know you like to anthropomorphize, and you like... No, it's a product. And you want people to pay money for this product. It's not for free, right? Like, you expect people to pay money. The one on the left not only looks beautiful, and it's not offensive to anyone. Like, despite what the left say, and they freak out about it, and they cry about it, they will still buy the game. Like no one is repulsed by beautiful people. Like, it's like a minority that's so fringe that's negligible. And on top of that, beautiful people, or in this case, the product, can also sell more product. Like, you don't have the need to make 1,000 DLC content in order to milk people of money when you can just sell a fucking Dakimakura. You can sell, VTuber models for this. Like, the possibilities are endless. You can monetize this on t-shirts. You can monetize this on statues and characters, figurines, keychains. Like, you would be stupid not to. And you can make so much money off of the merchandise alone. You don't need 25 DLCs. Now, on the right, this character, this chica, which, again, like, it would be fine if it's like a one-off character, if it's like a one thing in a video game, but it's now everywhere. Every fucking where you go. The female characters with short hair, manly jaws, no tits, no ass, broad shoulders, right? No one is going to buy a statuette of her. No one is going to buy a t-shirt of her. No one is going to buy a Dakimakura of her. Alright? Like, you can't merchandise her. There is no way that you can make products that people will buy outside of the game. And even in the fucking game, if you have like a $10 skin for this character, for Stellar Blade, purely cosmetic, right? People will buy it. Like, you're going to milk the consumer of money. If you have like a costume for this, imagine you have like, I don't know, a swimsuit for that. No one is interested. Who the fuck will buy that? No one cares, right? I mean, and the desire is there. Like, the market is already talking to you. You look at Nexus mods, all the top mods are porn mods. or lewd mods. By the way, like there's another demographic that they do not want to accept that it exists. It's people who want lewdness. Okay? They don't want porn. They don't want covered up. They want lewdness. Like they want sexy women that are still clothed. They still have clothes on, but they look hot. That is a demographic that they just fucking refuse to acknowledge it exists. It's like, oh, go watch porn. I don't want to watch porn. I know where I find porn. I know where I can find it. I want something like Stellar Blade. So yeah, no, it's just like mind-boggling, and quite upsetting to see that Japan is now going down that trend. I guess like Korea is now going to have to step it up. I mean, fucking China is stepping it up. Genshin Impact is from China, right? Genshin Impact does what America and Japan seem not to want to do anymore. I wouldn't even pirate that. Yeah, I wouldn't. Forspoken had DLC. Of course it did. Now, I know why Forspoken had DLC. Usually these conversations happen before the game is released. So they couldn't realize just how bad the game is going to end up being. Which means that they talked about DLC. And then, you know, they paid for it in advance. And since they paid for it, might as well make it. I don't know if anyone even played the Forspoken DLC. It looked just as bad as you'd expect. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. The image of the DLC was as abysmal as I would. Oh, there we go. Like you're looking at this and you're like, who the fuck is going to buy this? Why do I want this? Like it looks satanic. I'm an atheist, by the way. Okay, like I'm an atheist, and I'm looking at this, and I'm saying it looks satanic, and not in a good way, not in a Diablo type of way either, not in a cool, edgy way. They want you to like this, they want you to think that this is cool. It's not. There's nothing cool about this. I don't care about her character. I don't care about her lore. I do not care about what's under the mask. There is nothing that you. Now I will say something else, right? This is the standard of Western entertainment. Like, all the women that they make are always angry. All the fucking time. They're angry. Did you notice that? It's like every single female character has to be angry. Like, if she's not angry, she's not strong and empowered or some shit. Meanwhile, I'm playing Nikke recently. And everyone told me, hey, Nikke is this game that people play because of lewdness, which they call porn. So they play the game because of that. And they also play the game because it's a gacha, so it has to do with the it has to do with the gambling, right? And I just want to show you, like, this is how the female characters act in the game, and just how much personality they have with just a couple of lines of text. Okay. And it says how Mika complains that her friend put too much hot sauce in the crackers. I told her they were spicy crackers, but she didn't listen to me. She's right, I did it, and she makes this cool emoji. And I'm thinking, like, you know, the reason that Westerners do not make memorable characters anymore is because they do not use cute and wholesome. Like, cute and wholesomeness is an art that just doesn't exist in the West. Talizora Vastormadi was cute and wholesome. What was her name? Aerith from Baldur's Gate 2 was cute and wholesome. I would even say Morrigan from Dragon Age used to be wholesome, and she had her cute moments. But now no female character whatsoever is allowed to have cuteness. And let me show you another way that they do politics. Like this one is actually quite interesting. Let me see if I can find it, because I saved a couple. You got this girl which is playing MMOs, and she messages you. It's like, why do so many nasty people hide behind their own ice cream names and hurl insults with such impunity? Like she's not calling them bigots, right? She's not being divisive. She's not using the lingo. She's not saying why are there so many bigots or misogynists. Or it's like, why are people being nasty? And apparently she's playing a tank in an MMO, and people were flaming her for not playing the tank appropriately. Now the commander, which is interesting, instead of like blaming the people or saying, oh, they need to get banned off the internet or something, he's like, well, why don't you play a healer? Why don't you play a different role? Like, he's actually trying to offer constructive solutions that could improve her life. Because if you want people that are nasty to be banned off the internet, that's not going to make you a more wholesome person, first of all. Because everyone is nasty as well, right? Like, if you say, oh, well, I'm never nasty. No, fuck off. You are. Okay? Every single person is nasty. So if the internet were to ban nasty people, there would be no people on the internet. Or at least no legit people. Everyone would be fake, and everyone would pretend that there's something they're not. But like, the more important way is that he's actually trying to help her, right? Like, he can't control the world, but he's using Stoic philosophy in order to try and get her to see, like, well, what can you do differently so you don't get flamed? Because, yeah, nasty people are going to be on the internet. That can't be helped. But what can we do so that you don't get targeted? This lewdness you spoke of is by characters. Yeah, no, like, you found a really good niche at a very opportune moment. I genuinely think your comic book is going to do great. Because most Westerners think cute and wholesome is gay. I don't think so. I think they believe that cuteness is weakness or something like that. I think that they believe that if the woman doesn't show stoicism, like, unironically, the feminist movement believes that the male traditional gender equals strength. So they want men to be more feminine, like stuff like, why don't men cry and shit. They want men to be more feminine, and they want women to be more masculine. So, like, they give the woman the strong jaw, they make her look stern and stoic, while the men, they act clumsy, imbecilic, stupid, right? And it shows. It shows that people are getting bothered by this because, again, it's not wrong to have, like, a male character that acts like a fool. And it's also not wrong to have a female character that's stoic. But when literally everything becomes the stereotype, it just takes you out of the immersion. It's like you've seen that movie before. It's like you've seen that thing. It's like, why am I seeing it again? This all went back when people started making fun of virgins. I don't think so. I think, like, people make fun of virgins all the time in all the cultures. Like, it's basically viewed... It's the same way that people make fun of elderly women that are single. Right? Like this exists in all societies. For instance, they even have, like, nicknames for this in China. I forgot, like, they had... There was, like, this lady on TikTok whining about that in her culture in China. Like, men who are old and are rich, they're considered prime real estate, while women that are old and aren't taken, they're big, getting all sorts of labels. But yeah, no, it's due to the fact that as a man, right, like, you're expected to find a significant other, right? Like, it's a task. It's difficult. Like as a man, you gotta do certain things which are very difficult. Getting a job, getting out of your parents' basement, and finding a significant other. Like, these are the three things that you need to do, and the extra is getting a car. And if you don't do that, then you're considered not to be successful. And people will make fun of you because they know that it's you inside. Like, if you're a man and you don't do one of these, it bothers you. You know that it bothers you. So, like, other people will insult you with stuff that bothers you. What is the purpose of an insult? See, Americans even forgot the essence of an insult. Why do we insult others? What is the purpose of insulting another person? It's because you want them to feel bad, right? Like, insults are something we do when you want another person to feel upset. Like, you want to upset someone. You know, someone almost ran you over with your car, so now you're insulting them. Like, it has a purpose. Like, the left even refuses to admit why we insult. And it's human nature. And by the way, like, insulting someone is usually... it can be something that avoids violence, right? Because instead of, like you're angry at someone, he almost ran you over with a car. You're furious, right? But you don't want to hit him. You don't want to escalate. But it's good if you insult them because then you let it out. Anyway, right? How do you insult someone? Well, you insult someone with something that you know bothers them, right? So like if they're short, you make fun of their height. If they're fat, you make fun of their weight. You tailor the insult so that it actually fits the person, right? You're not going to call me, who I'm fat, you're not going to call me skinny. It doesn't make sense. So going back to what was previously said, the insult in this situation is exactly to fit. Like if the person doesn't have a girlfriend and he's like 25 years old, calling him a virgin, it hurts him. Like he legitimately feels bad about it. Not on the ball there, V. Most cultures also consider chastity until marriage to be a virtue. Well, yeah, but like why are you 25 and you're not married? They don't care how you're going to get laid. Go get married. I don't fucking care. It's like you're 25. Why aren't you married? Why don't you have kids? That's another thing, right? Like, why don't you have kids? Chastity is a virtue, sure. But, like, when you fail to get married and you're, like, 25, 30... Yeah. Anyway, women are pretty, men are cool looking. It's simple. Oh, come on, women can be cool looking. Anyway, let me show you a woman that's cool looking. Hold on. Give me a second. See if I can find it. I think I can find this one. I know I tweeted it out. So I can show you something cool. But can I open it? Ah, I can.
Say, do you know anything about race car driving? I don't, so I figured I'd ask.
The thing that I really like, again, like the West wouldn't do this, because I'm also trying to analyze this from an American perspective, if you will. Like, first of all, they would never draw a woman like this. You know, like, she's showing way too much sexuality. In fiction, women aren't allowed to be sexual in any way, shape, or form, right? Which is attractive. Does that... Most people, most 18-year-olds would not even be able to look this woman in the eye. Like, if she was in a bar and she made eye contact with them, they would look away, right? This is like feminine strength, feminine energy. But it's also the fact that she says she doesn't know anything about race cars, right? Again, the West would never write a female character that doesn't know anything about race cars. They view that as weakness, demeaning. No, like, she needs to be a master. Because if you write this way, you're going to have the Sweet Baby Inc. Critic coming up and say, oh, so you're saying that women don't know about race cars. So you're saying, so what you're saying is, so, you know, the Kathy Newman bullshit, right? It's like, no, what I'm saying is just because she's a woman, she doesn't have access to all of the knowledge that mankind has to offer. And it's also like a nice flirt, right? Like she may actually do know a thing or two about race cars, but it's a nice way of her engaging in conversation. No, I don't think it's... No, it's not a trap because Nikkes are all female. Do you know that Nikke actually has like a very, very dark story? Like when I first started playing Nikke, I thought, oh, it's a game with cute anime girls. Boy, was I wrong. The story is so fucked up, chat. The story is ungodly messed up. So apparently, they're androids like in 2B. I think they actually stole the story from Nier. You know, you have the aliens coming up and invading Earth, and humans make these androids, and the aliens take the surface, so now humans live underground in a place called the Ark. In order to make a Nikke, you have to take a girl between the age of 10 to 25, and then you kill her, you take away her brain, you scramble it, and then you make a copy of that, and you put it in a machine. And that's what Nikkes are. Now they're also prone to going psychotic. They are very emotionally unstable. And some of them like go mad with the fact that they realize they're not human. Like in the beginning, they had green blood. And when they got shot and they saw blood coming out that's green, it really messed with their brain. But yeah. It is messed up. And just like on the surface, like when you actually go deeper into the lore, You find out, especially the government. The government is really messed up as well. Let me show you an example of stuff that you find. So you get things like this. Daddy and I went to the park. I was running around in a field when I saw some of the aliens. Daddy told me they weren't real, but I could tell they were. I cried and asked him if we were going to see Bobby again. But then a lady appeared out of nowhere and beat up the aliens. When I asked her name, she said she was a Nikke. Now we're in some kind of a shelter. When I grow up, I want to be a Nikke just like her. Then you find this one, which basically says, reason why you must not participate in the Nikke experiments. Mortality rate as high as 70%. More than half of the remaining 32 become mass-produced models. The other 99.7% of those who become Nikke suffer from side effects, amnesia, psychosis, etc. Yeah. And basically, like, that girl eventually does apply for the Nikke program. And when the parents tried to find out what happened to her, they got shot out by the government. And what happened to her again? Like, she was killed, her brain was taken away, and she was made into a machine. But like, the story is really interesting, right? And it also asks questions about, my oppression, because the Nikkes are fucking oppressed. I mean, after a couple of them go haywire and start killing everyone, yeah, people start fearing them. And it's a good, reason. Because, like, when you... reason for the story, I mean. When you start playing the game, you see, like, these cute anime girls, and I was like, oh, come on, give me a break. The anime trope, where you have, like, the stunning 10 out of 10 waifus, but, like, no one was nice to her before you. And then you find out it's like, well, actually, there's a reason why people aren't nice to them. They go psychotic, and they murdered everyone. Anyway... It's very dark. Like, but it's not that it's dark, actually. Hold on. No, it blends very beautifully wholesomeness with like a very dark layer underneath. Like, if you're just playing the game and you're not reading the lore and anything, it just looks like cute anime girls doing cool shit. But if you actually, like, read the lore, you're like, oh my god, this is so fucked up. Her lame brain was put into a robot body with hot augments. Sounds good. Well, it's not really her brain. I think, like, the process isn't very clear, like, where I got to, but I think, like, they destroy the brain, they just copy it. But in order to copy it, they have to destroy the original, so, like, theoretically, you're dead. But they take enough of it in order to be able to create, like, a replica. And the replica is the actual machine. I was born in 71. The 80s were fantastic. I would say the 90s were really good as well. She's a cyborg. Yeah. She's kind of... I mean, they kind of... have the exact same things human have, except that they're stronger. But like, if you manage to see how one looks when she's wounded, instead of veins and arteries, she would have probably like tubes. Instead of bones, she would have like metallic things. But on the surface, they look and feel human. Imagine you genuinely get turned into a computer program and put on bots. Well, yeah, like most of them, when they have like this disconnect, like their brain thinks that they're human, but their body realizes that they're not, they go haywire. The replica brain probably lacks the soul energy of the original. That's why they go insane. I don't know. I haven't reached the story that far in order to figure out like what causes them to go insane. But basically, yeah, like they're very dangerous. And they do have like Nikkephobes in the world. Like a Nikkephobe is was a shopkeeper that doesn't let you buy a present for the Nikke because, and they have a good argument as well of being Nikkephobic. They basically say that she hates humans that treat Nikkes as if they're human beings, they're weapons. Like, you're not supposed to treat them as a human being because then they go haywire. And it's like, well, they actually do, so it's not wrong. The Necrons did that, and they went crazy over the time. Well, the thing is, like, I don't understand. Like, I had this debate with Rags, one stream, and I still don't see his point. Like if you were to have, like, your brain extracted, right, and your brain is literally you, and then the brain is, like, copied into a machine, right? Now, that machine will act exactly like you, but it's not you, so, like, you don't really live forever. It's not... Because this was the story of Soma, right? So, like, you have, like, this dual personality, but, like, your alternate self lives in a digital world. And I'm like, I mean, I guess, but, like, in the digital world, it's not you. So you're not really finding us. It's kind of like having ChatGPT, and you're training ChatGPT to talk like you. You know, it's... No, like, no. It's like, you're dead. If they take away your brain, you're dead. That's it. Robot girls, yes. It's not even like the consciousness of the original brain. Like, even if it was like 100% identical copy. The thing is, like, even a clone, like, even if you manage to clone a human being and the original dies, well, the original is dead. The clone is not the original. And what's also interesting is that if you were to have, like, a clone, like let's assume that, you know, scientists managed to clone you to the exact 100% level of detail, then simply by having different lived experiences, eventually your clone will end up different. So you'd still have two different people. It would be like genetical twins, right? Like, people who have genetical twins know that, well, despite the fact that their genetic material is perfect, due to external factors, they have different personalities, they have, like, different desires. Some of the Necrons still felt ghost pain of hunger, but had no mouth or stomach, so they just smeared things on their face. Oh, the Nikkes do that as well. Like the original Nikkes, they were growing insane, so the scientists allowed them to eat and process food so that they can, quote unquote, feel human. Because that's the thing, like, if they feel, they have to strike a balance between knowing that they're a Nikke and feeling human. So, like, for instance, they don't need to sleep, but they will sleep anyway, because if they don't sleep, they find that to be unnatural. They don't need to bathe either, but, like, if they go, like, a couple of days without bathing, they, again, like, it tells them that they're a machine, that they're not human, and it causes their brain to short circuit. Anyway, we got a little bit sidetracked. What if you only slowly replace the brain matter with computer chips? I genuinely don't know. That's a good question. It's like, how much... Yeah, like, if you were to have, like, brain damage, and you replace it with chips, is it still you? I don't know the feeling, like, the sensation of having, like, your brain that... Because they're not... Like, we know that if you fuck with someone's brain, it completely alters their personality. To the extreme, like, the person is a vegetable, and they can go, like, pick at the... Like, this was an interesting case that I saw at my hospital, by the way. We were told to talk with the patient, and I'm like, hello, my name is, how are you feeling today? And he's like, goo. And I... Goo? It's like, yeah, goo. Turns out that the man was perfectly capable of understanding everything I said. Like, if I was to ask him, can you raise your left hand? Can you raise your right hand? He would. If I asked him, can you show me 4 fingers? He would. But whenever he tried communicating, whenever he tried articulating, whether it was through speech or through writing, he couldn't. Like, he couldn't write, he couldn't speak. It was horrible for the wife. Because the man, like in his head, he knew what he wanted, right? So, like, for instance, he would want he would want a sandwich, right? And he would try to articulate, but the wife wouldn't understand, because he would just go goo, you know? And the reason for this is that he had a stroke. So it goes to show, like, just how much of your brain matters, right? Like even like a small fraction of the brain, if it's taken away, you're... Now, if you were to add a chip so that the guy can think again, the question is, like, would it be the same person, right? And I guess, but like, how much of the brain can you replace with chips until it's not a human being? I suppose, you know, if you replace like 25%, there's still like 75% you. If you replace half of it, there's still 50% you, you know. But it probably wouldn't work like that because not all areas of the brain are as important. Like, there are people with tumors and they have like the tumor removed and they still manage to live just fine. So it's hard to say. No, typing wouldn't work. Like, he can't even arrange cubes. Like, if you give them, like, children toys, you know, the ones with the cubes that you make into words and stuff, he can't do it. He lost the ability to communicate, to speak. And I think, like, even with sign languages, like, stuff that's easy, like he understands you perfectly. But he doesn't know how to ask. Now, pointing and stuff that's like 2 or 3 year olds that can do, yes. But like if you were to try to teach him complex sign languages, he can't. Is it the same as the boat dilemma? How much can you replace before it's a new boat? Yeah. It's the same thing, but I think like these are language games at the end of the day, right? I mean, I suppose the best way to say it, it's like if you have a boat and you keep replacing, then when you replace one part, like you replace 5% of the boat, then it's 95% your boat. You replace half of it, that is 50% your boat. You know, like, yeah, I think this is the only way you can articulate it that it makes sense. Making a clone of you and that copy going on after you die is basically having a kid. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah. Like, if you were to clone... But I guess, like, cloning yourself is different because, like, the genetic material is identical. If you have a kid, it's another person's DNA in it as well, right? So, if you were to have, like, an offspring, yeah, that's one thing. But, like, what if you had, like, an exact genetic clone? Like, 100%... Then no. All your cells are replaced every 7 years. No, that's a myth. Some of your cells do get replaced, but the heart, the brain doesn't get replaced, basically, which is the most important thing. So, if you find your way to make your brain immortal, will eventually fill up completely. You know, like, this was a topic in a TV show called Torchwood, where people just wouldn't die. It was impossible to kill people. And they quickly realized that it's a problem because while people couldn't die, they could still have kids. So, like, you constantly had more births, you constantly had, like, more people having kids. And it was a huge issue. Seems boring to have a clone. It's kind of like having a brother, isn't it? What was it? Heart, brain, and one other thing that doesn't regrow cells. It's stuff that don't make cancer, right? Like, well, actually, you can have heart cancer, but it's usually like a tumor from another place. Same with the brain. But you're not going to have, like, heart cells being cancerous, as far as I know. Maybe I'm wrong. I should update. It's been like more than 7 years since I finished med school, so. Yeah, you replace your sperm cells regularly, I see. Anyway, right, I think we got sidetracked because we started talking about X-Men and went and talked about other things, but overall, hopefully I managed to entertain you a little bit and give you some insight into how progressive think. They literally believe that comic books are kind of like the Bible for them, right? So if you don't read it correctly, if you don't interpret the comic book correctly, or if, heaven forbid, you like the antagonists of the comic, they freak out really bad. And that's why they're enraged. It's like going to a Christian and saying, hey, you know, like, I think Jesus was actually the bad guy. Or, hey, you know, I think, like, Satan was pretty dope in this part. You know, like, it's kind of like that. Again, for the people that just joined here, I will show you what I was talking about. And it's this.
Hurt my friends? Well, now you answer to me.
Humanity answers to no one. Know what I hate about your kind?
Like, the moment he said, I hate about your kind, a progressive just looks at him and thinks Satan. Like, that's how they're viewing it. So like, if you think that this guy has a point, or you like him, then it's kind of like going to a Christian and you say, yeah, I think Satan in the Bible, you know, in that part, it was pretty kind of cool. And that the way that the Christian reacts is the same way the woke person reacts if you're basically saying, yeah, you know, I think this guy had a point.
You act like you got it so bad. Normal people have it hard too. Harder. We just have the dignity not to whine about it.
Again, for progressives, having it bad is essential. I remember, I think it was... God, I forgot the name of this left-winger. But he basically told an anti-Semitic joke. And the anti-Semitic joke goes like this. There's a lot of merchants. And they're talking to each other and they say, God, you know, please help me. I'm just a nobody. And the other guy says, it's like, no. The other guy also says, it's like, oh, God, help me as well. You know, I'm nothing. And then you have like this new person, this traveler. And he comes up and he also prays and he says, God, I have nothing. You know, please help me. And the first two merchants, they look at each other and it's like, who the hell is this guy? You know, claiming that he has nothing. Like, who is this person? Like, why is he talking like... And it's because, like, having nothing or being a nobody is actually having status. In a world where if you're considered oppressed, then things need to be done for you. Right? So, it is actually like being the cool kid on the block. That's not how Cyclops powers work. You can't block them with a stick. Well, I think it was like a stick made out of a special metal or some shit. The guy is in the comic book as well. No, like the thing makes sense. Like he managed to knock away Cyclops' visor, so Cyclops is closing his eyes in order not to hurt innocent people. Which is why he's heroic, by the way, right? Because like if he was Homelander, he wouldn't give a fuck. Like if he was Homelander and his thing gets knocked off, you just like look at the person normally and just do a lot of damage with the possibility of hurting those around him. The guy wanted to kill people for the crime of having a trial. So before the scene, we already are against the executioner. I don't know what this character was before the scene, but like the scene in particular, like the monologue, you know, like the things that he is saying. I agree with them. Yeah, like the mutants are not a demographic in the X-Men universe. They are people with powers that they can't control. Some of them can't control. They can hurt themselves and others. Having people that are skeptical of mutants is completely justified. That was Gambit's stick? Then it makes sense. If I remember correctly, the few times Cyclops removes the limiter was against Juggernaut. It was against Juggernaut and I think Apocalypse as well. Cyclops shot at innocent people. Well, I'm pretty sure like there have been other things in the comics that I haven't read. But this is the Cyclops that I grew up with, right? Not the one that got changed. Because I know like there was a time when... X-Men became edgy, like the New 52, you know, before everything went woke, everything went edgy. And you had to have like all superheroes like, well, actually, they're not good, they're shades of gray, and they also did bad things. And I think like they made Cyclops into a terrorist or something for a while. So yeah, if he shot at people, then maybe. But like the Cyclops that I grew up with, the one from the comics, and yeah, he wouldn't try to hurt innocent people. Anyway, right, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the super chats, and hopefully I will see you on my other channels. Take care.